In this video, we're going to show you guys how we installed this elevator bed lift into our camper van. Oh, and side note, it's a knockoff from Alibaba. Let's see if it's any good.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Just Go Travel. Today we are doing something super exciting, but before that I'm going to quickly just explain why I'm extremely red, so don't be alarmed. I got burnt because I was stupid and did not put any sunscreen on my arms. We had a fabulous boat day this morning, didn't we, Mike?
Yeah, it was awesome.
But, you know, gotta work. We had our play in the morning, and now we're getting to work. So today, we are building our bed. How exciting. This thing is going to rise and lower in the van. It's gonna be so cool. So yeah, get excited and cross our fingers that this thing works because we didn't buy the most expensive one out there.
Okay, so as some of you might know, we are going with this has been a long time coming, we are going with a elevator bed lift system in our van. And there's a lot of different ones. There's a lot of different options on how you can make a motorized bed lift in your van. A popular option is the Happy Jack system, which is like these 4 posts with gears, and it kind of lifts up the bed from all 4 corners up at the same time. Another option is something called linear actuators. They're these sort of motorized lifts that are underneath and they push them up and down. And what we've got here is a system that's driven by an electric motor and seat belts to lift the bed up and down. So we really like this option because there's no like posts underneath that sort of get in the way of, like, you know, when you're hanging out underneath the bed, they're not in the way. This, you know, once the bed is up, everything is just not out of sight, and it should be really, really awesome, provided that it works okay. Most popular seat belt style bed lift is what's called the LCI Lippert Euroloft bed lift system, and it's also extremely expensive. So if you want to buy like the name brand one, it's about like $4,000. It's crazy. It's really just an electric motor with seat belts, right? So like $4,000 is a lot of money to pay for something like that. So what we have here, we went online, we did some digging, we found this one on Alibaba.
Well, we found someone on a Facebook group first.
Yeah, I'll back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's a Facebook group that we are part of. It's like a Ford Transit Campervan conversion Facebook group. Lots of people on there, way smarter than us, talking ideas on how to build campers and Ford Transits
affordably.
Yeah, and affordably. And one of them suggested getting one of these bed lifts. So they got one and installed it in their van. It seems to work great for them. So we hopped onto Alibaba, bought this thing with shipping and everything. Shipping was actually really expensive. Because like they had to ship it overseas from China and stuff. So all in all, total with shipping was about $1,600 Canadian. So still expensive, but definitely nowhere near in the $4,000 price range that you usually pay for basically this exact same system. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna install this. The manufacturer did not come with very specific or clear instructions on how to do this. So we're just sort of following guides, a mishmash of guides online of people who installed like the name brand version, and hopefully everything just sort of lines up similarly. So we're gonna get into it. As you can see, we've got the entire thing in front of us here. So we got the bed frame itself. You can see we've already sort of started putting it all together. We got the bed slats that sit on top. This is the big giant electric motor that spins a rod essentially, which is right there in front of you. And then those pull from 4 corners, seat belts up and down to, you know, in sync with each other, so everything just kind of moves as one. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna finish building the frame of this. We have to add like a crossbar in the middle, and then we have to mount like the bed slats as well as the motor shaft. So let's get into that. It really should be mostly self-explanatory. They got these sort of corner bits here to connect all the corners of the bed, and then this middle shaft goes sort of, you know, widthwise or something like that, and then connects it all in the middle. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so we're doing the first step of building this bed frame, and honestly, we've already broken some screws because the screws are clearly made pretty cheaply. We're hoping that it's fine because they're basically all the way in, and the only thing that broke is the head of it. So hopefully we never have to take this bed apart.
Yeah.
We shall see. Hopefully this was not a waste. See, and that one just broke.
Just broke. Yeah.
That's like every single one has had at least one break. But like, it's in there.
Yeah, but it's never coming out.
But it's never coming out.
Okay, so we've gotten one corner of this in, as you can see. We did it terribly because of the broken screws. And now we're gonna install this cross beam that goes in between the beds. So they just gave us some L brackets that we have to, make all the screw holes and stuff ourselves, which is fine. It's just, yeah, it's supposed to be like this, I believe. Okay, so yeah, one thing we have learned right off the bat is most of the hardware that they give us is pretty garbage. Like take these corner braces, for example, that they're supposed to go on this and then connect this crossbar in the middle of the bed frame, right? The problem is, like the corner braces they give us, one of the holes will basically, where it needs to line up, will basically be like hanging off.
Well, it's not hanging off. It's just like
but
right at
it
the
wouldn't
end.
it wouldn't go through like well, and so we replaced all of them with different ones. And yeah, these should work a lot better because the hole isn't right on the edge now. And look, that's their factory hole. I'm not using that. That's awful.
So we're gonna make our own.
Yeah, these two in the metal.
All right, the one thing that this company has done very well on is provided us with a 90-degree screwdriver?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Okay, so we have to screw this part into this via these L brackets that we've made. But then once you do that, there's no way to like get these to fit in because you can't like really bend these without breaking them because
Yeah.
it would be like way over like this. And like I
It's
can't
not
bend
that
this,
much, but
right?
yeah, but it's a lot. So like,
So the only way to do it is after the fact, and luckily we're gonna have this 90-degree screwdriver.
well, it's gonna come from the bottom because we
Oh, right.
can't actually.
Yeah, we'll flip it and then we'll go from the bottom. But like that, no. Okay, so we got our motor and shaft mounted inside of the bed frame. As you can see, it runs along the length here into the motor, which is here. And you can see on this side. So you screw this into this for support there. And then at the very end over here, notched out. And this gets screwed onto this side. Those again, the slats again, right? Okay.
Welcome back to our messy workshop.
So it's day 2 of this bed build, and we're gonna finish screwing in all the bits of this because kind of just gave up last night because we were kind of over it.
But we got the frame done, and honestly, this was the hardest part of this.
Yeah.
Was really these slats.
Yeah,
this
and like,
second
and
set.
the order of which you do it all,
Yeah.
because like, there's no instructions really to tell you what order. They tell you that you're supposed to build the whole thing with all the slats installed and then install the motor shaft,
Makes no
which
sense.
is impossible. So anyway.
Or we will find out soon if we were wrong.
All right, yeah, maybe we were supposed to somehow do it that way. The instructions aren't clear, like we said. So we're gonna finish screwing the rest of those screws back into this, and then we're gonna take it into the van for a first test fit to figure out where the rest of it goes. Dogs.
Calm yourself. All right, I believe that we have officially built the frame of the bed. Everything is secured on there and ready to go. Actually, I lied. There is a couple like plastic pieces that we're supposed to mount on, but that should be like super easy. But yeah, we are this much closer to getting it inside the van and mounted, I guess. All right, well, the plastic pieces are in and we are officially, I think, done building this bed frame. Our review on it so far, I would say is maybe like a 5.
So all in all, I have to say putting this thing together was kind of a pain in the butt. Like you saw, all the screws that it came with are terrible, so we replaced all of them. All the L brackets that it came with are terrible, so we replaced all of those. Order of which it tells you to do it is completely wrong, so you kind of have to like jigsaw puzzle a lot of this together yourself, just kind of like, taking a step back and thinking about it step by step. Because once you put everything together in a certain way, you lose access to other parts of it, things like that. So, and a lot of the way that they created like these factory holes, like for this motor, come over here and look at this, for example. So we mounted the motor as best as we can. We got 4 screws on this side, which is good, but on this side we were only able to get these 2 screws. There's literally no way for us to get screws on any of these holes here. The motor is too big, no matter what, like even the right angle bit won't fit in here. So, and like you can't really like disassemble this to get at that plate that's screwed in before this is here, so you just can't do it. So yeah, not the best designed in that aspect, but it's fine.
It was cheap.
Yeah, it's fully put together now. It actually feels pretty sturdy and strong now that everything's together and screwed down and things like that. So yeah, we are done the assembly portion of it. Now we're gonna get this thing into the van, do a quick test fit to make sure that we measured it correctly and that it even fits in the van, because
well, it does.
Wouldn't that be something?
No,
fit?
it does. It
no,
does.
It does. I think we've already sort of tested.
We tested it without all of this stuff in.
Yeah.
We tested it just as the outer frame.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're gonna take this thing in there, rest it on some stuff. Let's see how it looks. Sneak peek at what it might look like in here. It's kind of in the way right now.
Well, yeah. Hopefully it'll be up there later.
So yeah, when you order one of these beds off of the Alibaba seller that we did, it's all custom sized, right? So like you tell them what size bed that you're gonna have and they make one of these custom just for you. So, and they sent me like drawings and plans throughout the build process and all this stuff, and I totally didn't clock that they put the slats as if we were gonna have an east-west bed instead of a north-south bed. It shouldn't matter, because like once you get the mattress on there, it's all gonna be supported anyway, so we're hoping that doesn't screw us, because there's really no turning back now.
If it does, don't come at us in the comments, okay?
So what we're gonna do now is figure out all the guides and the brackets for the seatbelt system that raises up and down, so we have to, do some measuring, screw the brackets into the wall, things like that, but I think the hard part was building this, so that was tough. All right, here we go. Okay, step 1 of getting these guide tracks on was already a huge pain in the ass.
Well, it's just partly because we already have stuff in here, so we're kind of like one side needed to be done before the other, and yeah.
And these bars are like kind of long, and we didn't want to disassemble the whole bench in order. That was one way we could have done it, but you saw what we just did. It worked. So now, and what we learned is on this side, we can totally chop this wall way more. Yeah, so we're gonna chop that all the way down to there, so we just don't close this back area off as much. We're gonna keep this wall as big as it is, just because the fridge is next to it and it's gonna be that deep anyway, and plus our bench, you see, it comes to there. So we're gonna keep that side that big, but we're definitely gonna shorten this side. So what we're gonna do now is get these guide rails just kind of mounted into this wall. We have to drill screws into them.
All right, so the bed frame is in. We have the 2 guide rails to kind of keep it straight. They're not secured in there just yet, but we are just measuring how high we want it from the top, and then from the bottom we need to cut.
We're gonna need to cut these. Had to buy a whole new blade for our miter saw that was like $100 just to make this one cut. Stupid.
2 cuts.
Right, this one and this one. So yeah, we got these all square. These are good. They're level. But anyway, so we got these in here now. We've measured it. We're going to take everything back out. We're going to cut these rails and put holes in them so we can screw them into these back walls. And then we're gonna start putting in the brackets that hold the seat belts on the side walls here. So we're gonna do this first. Let's take everything out. Okay, so now that we got the guide rails cut, we have to make a hole on each end of them. So we're gonna go about 1 inch down from the top and just make a hole right in the center. We've brought the bed back in temporarily because now we need to actually start undoing the seat belts and start running them to each side of the bed that they will be going. So you have to run them through these little like plastic spacer thingies. Yeah, so we're gonna quickly do that. Okay, so we've brought the bed back into the van. Seat belts are all sort of prepped with their little bracket thingies on them. So essentially what happens now is these get bolted to the wall where our furring strips, you can see some of the exposed ones here, through the furring strips. On the back walls, bit of a problem. We're gonna have to add an exterior furring strip because we have an empty air gap in between for some of the factory wiring to run through. So we don't have furring strips that go all the way to the end. So we're gonna have to span 2 of them with one on the exterior, and then the rear brackets will go on those. So we're closing in here though, getting our guide rails back in. This needs to come way higher. But yeah, and then these will get screwed into the wall, like somewhere up here. And once all the brackets are in, we can test to see how well this entire thing works. Okay, so we're getting to installing these side brackets now. Just making sure of where our furring strips are behind our wall, so we have something to drill into. Okay, so got the front 2 ones up, one's in the back. We said we're gonna use a block to span our furring strips. So we'll kind of go like this. Okay, so we have gotten all of our wall brackets up now. As you can see, they're all into the studs of the van. And now we have to adjust all of these so they're nice and snug. And then we're gonna hook it up and test it and see if this all worked.
Whew, all right, apparently Mike says that it is ready to go, meaning we should be able to lift it up. All right, Mike is just finishing up some wire connections. These will all live underneath the bed, and then there will be obviously a ceiling underneath, as we are going to be installing lights under there. So yeah, how you feeling?
I hope this works.
Yeah,
I have no idea what's gonna happen. course, when we think we're done, we're nowhere near done.
Don't know if you heard that, but like Mike said, we thought we were almost done, but we are nowhere near done. So basically what we've been doing is troubleshooting because, well, nothing works the first time. So basically the the slide rails, whatever you want to call them, were off. So one end was pushing into the wall more than the other side, which was not helping. It was actually getting caught on the rails and then not coming down. So we thought about it, figured we'd move them over to the one side more so that the these little plastic pieces, where are we? These little plastic pieces are not, so that those plastic pieces do not touch the wall. So we fixed that problem, which is great, but now we are trying to adjust the height of the bed and make sure that it's coming down all level. So now we are trying to level, I'm assuming with this side. So I bring this side up to match, and I think this side as well to match. All right, guys, we officially have a bed lift. Woohoo! Good job, Mike.
We did it!
And it's gonna go all the way to the top, probably there with the mattress. And yeah, lots of headroom for you, Mike.
So yeah, guys, this took so much work.
This took so much longer. There was always something. We had at least 2 or 3 problem-solving things we had to do.
And yeah, it's just like, I'm glad we saved all the money by buying it off of Alibaba, but having a lack of instructions and terrible hardware, that definitely threw a wrench in a lot of our plans and progress. I made probably 6 runs to the hardware store today to make this all happen, but check it out.
Don't hit your head.
Yeah, right. We have a bed lift.
Yeah.
It's a big mess right now of wires. Like, obviously this is the switch panel for it. We got to put it somewhere in the wall out of the way. This wire will always sort of like have this sort of slack to it. Yeah. As it goes up and down. You know, it needs to be long enough so it can come all the way down, right? And then as well as long enough so it can go all the way back up. So
we still got to figure that out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to clean all that up. Right now, this is all just sort of, you know, temporarily strapped in, but that's it, guys. We successfully installed this bed lift. We saved a ton of money. It took a lot of work, but this is great.
All right, we are moving on. We have removed the bed. I know, seems silly. We just put it in. Well, we like to do things in weird orders. So we're gonna now make our roof, which goes underneath the bed. We're gonna use the same, what do we call this, shiplap-ish that we used on the actual ceiling. And yeah, Mike is just cutting it to size, but we're basically just gonna do this all the way across.
Okay, so one thing we forgot to mention. So as we were taking the bed out of the van to build the ceiling for it and stuff, we noticed that a bunch of the plates, like the brackets that hold the seat belts up, the way that they're built, so like the seat, I can't actually get this flush right now, but the way that it works is that the seat belts just go in one side and then out the other, and then you cinch this plate down. But the posts for these plates are really terribly made. Like, these just totally stripped when I tried to undo this, and now I can't undo this anymore because it just spins this, you know, this post. And I'm not really sure what we're gonna do at the moment. I'm gonna try using JV weld just to kind of stick it back into place, and then hopefully I can unscrew it then. But this is a very, very weak point of this bed lift, because obviously this is a really crucial component, the plates that hold up the seat belts, and the fact that the seat belt portion of it is held in by posts that just come out if you just put a little bit too much force trying to get them off, because it sort of felt like it was getting stuck and then it just twisted. So yeah, Alibaba.
showing
good.
its true colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we can fix that, and then this will be all worth it. All right, here is our bed lift ceiling. I'd say we did a pretty darn good job. And yeah, I just need to paint this side and the opposite side, so we won't screw those down yet, but yeah, go us.
Okay, so it is several weeks later now. So the patch job I tried to do on the plates using the JB Weld didn't work. I think these were already too far gone. So yeah, I wasn't able to repair these using the JB Weld. So what I did was I just contacted the manufacturer and they sent me a whole bunch more, plus a whole bunch of extra ones. And what I'm gonna do right off the bat is use the JB Weld before I even install these, just to get, you know, the backs of these as rigid as possibly can be, because as you can see, these are garbage, like I said. And another thing you can do is find like a metal fabricating shop and have them just create better brackets for you, which we might have to end up doing, because these are just kind of janky and crappy. So it'd be way better if these bolts were welded into this plate instead of whatever the heck it is they are onto this plate. Definitely not strong. So yeah, we're gonna use the JB Weld right off the bat. Hopefully that works, and we're gonna get everything installed.
Okay, all done. We got a grommet for our wires to feed through, nice and clean. Should be all good.
The van, we're finishing up our ceiling to wall transition pieces that we've cut out and to accommodate like the brackets for the bed lift. And we're gonna get those installed. Here's the aftermath of the brackets with the JB Weld. Doesn't look pretty, but don't worry, you won't see it. Get these back on the wall. Notice that we have an entire plumbing setup just randomly in here now. This is actually, yeah, I built this because when we took everything out to like paint it, that was a good time to get all of this in. This is gonna be next week's video. This is gonna be a whole separate video, so stay tuned for that. We're just gonna keep working on the bed lift for now. So yeah, Dana's just finishing up filling up these holes. Gonna get the bed lift brackets back in and finish up. Okay, so we are closing in here on the install. So we got all of our puck lights wired in. We got our switch panel more or less in the place of where it's going to be eventually. It'll live somewhere here in the kitchen area. All of our wires are coming from the bed into the wall to all the places they need to go. So this will be cleaned up in a wire loom. And what's really interesting is that the company gave us these limit switches. So essentially there's two of them. There's one for, you know, when it goes up, and there's one for when it goes down. So basically what happens is when this gets pressed, the bed can't go up anymore. So like you'll press like the control panel button, and if this thing is activated, it won't go up anymore. So essentially setting an upper limit for where the bed stops, so you don't have to like, you know, incrementally do it every single time just to make sure it's not rubbing weird. So what we're gonna do, this is just as an example, we're gonna do this a lot cleaner, but we're basically going to mount this button on the rail, and then this rail of the bed, I actually added this little wood block spacer in it. Once it gets to the exact height that we want it to go, we're going to attach this button so that basically that piece of wood, this is really hard for me to do right now, but basically what happens is that piece of wood will click that into place as we raise it up. So yeah, we'll attach that in a better way, but just wanted to show you how that works. This will be really handy to have. We've also created these really thin 1/4-inch boards that's gonna sit on top of all of this, because we noticed when we put just the bed on here as is, it was kind of rubbing against parts of the motor. There's like sharp edges over there, and it was kind of like scraping of the bed. So we just have these really thin pieces of ply to add as more support on top of these bed slats. And yeah, we're gonna put that on and then bring the bed in. So we cut some holes
For ventilation.
For ventilation. There you go. And it covers exactly where we need it to cover. Hello.
All right, you guys, so this is Mike from the future. Dana's back there, over there, you can see. So we have been camping in this for real now for a couple of weeks, and this bed lift has been awesome. It has never failed, it works every time, and it's super comfortable. We love it so much. It totally opens up the space. You basically get 2 rooms for the price of 1 room, because when you're not using it, it goes all the way up, and we have this entire hangout space underneath here, as you can see. It's great. A couple of notes from the install of this, as I'm sure you guys saw. If you were to get this exact bed lift, definitely replace all of the hardware that it comes with, all the screws and brackets that they give you. Do what I did with the wall hanging brackets, the things up on the wall there, with the JB weld, or get better ones made, whatever. Once you get past those sort of shortcomings of this bed lift, it's actually amazing. It's definitely worth the money, saved a ton. We'll let you guys know in the future. Hopefully it's still holding up, but for now, this is really great. But with that, guys, thanks so much for watching. My name is Mike.
I'm Dana.
We're Let's Just Go Travel. We'll see you guys on the next one.